Strange, there'll be no panto this year in the theatre. I know I wasn't going to be in it because, unfortunately, due to ill health, I've had to retire and draw the curtain on my panto career. But I was really looking forward to being out there in the audience, watching my friends on stage, making me laugh. But, c'est la vie, that's how it goes. However, this is the story of the Friendship Theatre Group from the beginning. Oh, yes, it is. Terry Scott was on television and he used to come on dressed as a little boy and he used to talk, my brother. And I used to imitate him in family get-togethers. And that is where the character came and the character that I used on the club scene. And of course, the Denny Tup character, the character was in the clubs. But Denny Tup became the panto character.
Some questions.
Hey, I got a question to ask you.
Oh, go on then.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
I've done up.
I've done up who?
Oh, I thought you had. Oh, Judy.
You behave then.
I don't think the character has changed one bit.
And I bet you 20 yen, you can't answer
It's the only thing I know.
questions with the same one.
Immediately, you want me to become Denny Tup, I've only got to turn around and say,
Take me out now if you want to talk to me, Denny Tup. I am Denny Tup, right?
now, back to Dennis again. Denny Tup is Denny Tup and will always be the same.
Say.
Knickers!
All right, you keep the knickers, I'll keep the money. Thank
No,
you.
that's not fair.
I was with this company in Llanelli for 13 years, and the director decided that the company had been going for 21 years, had gone as far as he could take it, and he was winding it up. Well, there are about 50 people involved in a panto group, and a lot of us wanted to continue. So we got together and we decided, well, shall we form a new company? And we said, yes, okay, we're all keen on forming a new company. Well, what shall we call it? And I said, well, we're all friends. Why don't we call it the Friendship Theatre Group?
There's myself, Brian, Angela Osborne, Denny, set up the group in 1993, so we're all still involved. Brian is probably our eldest now because Denny's retiring. Our youngest come from children from the Raycop Academy who start at 5-year-old. We audition them every year. And the senior dancers start at 16 up to whenever. So it's a great broad spectrum of actors, singers, dancers, right across the board really, from 5 up to 70 odd.
My name is Brian Hughes. I am the chairman of the Friendship Theatre Group and have been for the past year and a half. I do not profess to be a thespian. I played rugby. I played for the Carmarthenshire Quins, not the Carmarthenshire Quins, the Carmarthenshire School Rugby. And I also enjoyed my cricket and badminton. I loved my sport. Once I got on that stage, and with the camaraderie that was there, and the, how can I say, the back end that I had with a lot of people, and especially when you had the audience there responding, I thought, oh, this is pretty good. I'll enjoy this. And when I was having the boos and the hisses and so on.
At last, I'm in charge of the ship.
And I thought, oh, yes, I'll carry on doing this.
I was their original principal boy back in the 90s. So I was about 16, 17 maybe at the time. I remember my sister at the time. I'm a good 10 years older than one of my sisters, and I remember coming on stage as Jack and Jack and the Beanstalk, and she was in the the audience with my dad on his lap and my stepmum. And I ran on, "Hi, everybody, I'm Jack." And she really loudly went, "His name's not Jack, his name's Dean and he's my brother."
Yeah, it was just kind of in the early 90s. I just had this recollection of being saying, "You've got to come to the show." So going down to Theatrau or wherever it would be. And after a game, stand in the wings sometimes or stand at the back with my popcorn, watching Denny Tupp doing what he does so well. Incredible times.
And gallons of fresh milk. Oh, but before I do any of that, I just got to have a cuppa. You know, I can't do anything till I've had a cup of tea. Some folks put much reliance on politics and science, but there's only one hero for me. His craving may be roaring as the man who thought of pouring the first boiling water onto tea. Now, where have I put my tea bags? Oh, look! Here they come now. I like a nice cup of tea in the morning, for to start the day, you see. And at 11:30, well, my idea of heaven is a nice cup of tea. I like a nice cup of tea with my dinner, and a nice cup of tea with my tea. And when it's time for bed, there's a lot to be said for a nice cup of tea.
I'm Alan Williams. I come from Swansea, the Sketty area of Swansea, and fortunately now retired. I used to work in a computer company.
I'm Cheryl. I'm from Swansea. I live in Calais. I work in an insurance brokers. I live with my partner and I've got 2 cats.
So I'm David Jones. Everyone knows me as Di. I'm from Pontarddulais, and for my day job, I actually work in the water trade. So I'm a general manager for Sinclair Group.
My name's Dean Verbeck. I'm currently the Friendship Theatre pantomime director.
So I'm Nathan. Outside of Panto, I work as a marketing communications officer at Gâr College.
I'm Rebecca Lloyd. I'm from Pentraquith in Swansea. I work in a school. I'm a school admin assistant.
So I'm Sean Davis. I work as a visual stylist by day for a big fashion retailer, Marks and Spencer's, dare I say it. I live in Poole.
What's taking you so long?
Well, Mum said we economise. So I ran holiday home behind the bus and I saved 50p.
That's very sensible of you, then.
No, not really. If I don't run home behind the taxi, I'd save the £5.
Don't be so daft, Denny.
No acting, no singing from me, just dancing. So I was a babe dancing then, right up until I was 10 or 11, I think. And then I became a villager, which was in between a dancer and a babe.
Just to live one day out there. Out there among the millers and the weavers and their wives. Through the roofs and gables I can see them.
So I was a villager for 3 years, and then I moved into being a dancer, so one of the senior dancers. And I was there right up until the year before I was having my baby. And then I came back after having Jacob, and I didn't want to dance anymore then. It's time for other people to come through and dance. But I still wanted to be involved, and that's when I was helping out backstage.
With my share, won't be set, won't despair, old and dead, I don't care. I have spent one day out
Very often things go wrong in panto. And we were doing a panto once, it was Cinderella. Cinderella was on the stage, and I walked on. I said, "Hello, Cinders, what are you doing here?" "Oh, I'm waiting for Daddy, Baron Hardup," namely Brian Hughes. And I looked in the wings, there was no sign of him.
Well, in the Cinderella, I was still in the dressing room, going through some of my next lot of lines. Didn't realise, although we had the cameras in the dressing rooms, that I was due to be on.
And I said, I'll go and see if he's coming. So I went in the wings, I said, excuse the language, where the hell is Hughes? So I grabbed the brush, I went back on stage, I said, I've got to do everything in this panto, I said. And
it wasn't until some was shouting and I said, oh my goodness, I'm due to go on.
There was still no sign of him. So I said, oh, Cinderella, I said, I have written a resuscitation. Would you like me to resuscitate to you now? And she looked at me. Yes. The robin has high walked this morning when all good things are born. A robin perched upon my sill to greet the coming morn. He was sweet, young and happy, and sweetly did he sing, and thought of joy and happiness into my heart did spring. I listened sweetly to his song, and paused beside my bed. I gently closed the window, and crushed his blinking head. Well, with that, the audience erupted, whoosh, and as I'm saying, and crushed his blinking head, in he comes, and the audience didn't know anything about it.
Now, the next time that it happened, he was waiting for me to make my entrance, and I was on the wings, and I refused. I was nodding my head and said, no, Robin. And then he realised he had to say the Robin again. And this is how it's carried on.
Now, look into my eyes, look into my eyes. And what do you see? Highballs!
I started off my career back at the age of 13, where I was in a Fairy Liquid commercial with Nanette Newman. Now that takes that name. I haven't heard of Nanette Newman for many, many, many years. But that's where I started. I was a magician for years, a professional magician, doing magic shows. And then from Gysainen College, where I did performing arts, I went to Rosebery for Drama College and then did a postgrad in musical theatre at the Royal Academy of Music. So I worked professionally up in London for 10 years, on and off, you know, jobbing actor. And I've been back in Wales now for 15 years. It's electric in here, and the company has built up such a following. And what's really special about this is because the theatre's full, people feel secure and relaxed, so they will laugh more.
So I've been coming to panto since very, very young. I've been told I started coming to this panto in '96 when I was 3 years old. Absolutely loved them. And up until 2019, came with my grandparents and my mother, and the four of us would always come to this pantomime. Do a couple around the country, but this was the one that happened every year, no matter what.
But you know that you've entertained 400 people a night. They've all come into the theatre, they've bought programmes, they bought tickets, and it's that money that they've put into our show that we can then donate to the local charities.
I'm fabulous, baby. Gotta get to a place where for once I can say I succeeded. Gotta get to that place where for once I can say I belong. Gotta get to a place where for once I'll be loved and be needed. Look at me, can't you see?
When we did Cinderella, and it was the first time, you know, I'd been on stage with a horse. So that was quite fun. And obviously behind the scenes and the horse doing his business in the changing rooms and things. So yeah, that was quite fun. No, memories that I've got then.
It was, I believe, Babes in the Wood. The scene I'm thinking of, it was the bedroom scene with the babes and the dame. Every night I never knew how the bed would be set up, whether it might have holly in it, or perhaps it might be two side benches. You'd get into bed and the mattress would fold around you as you fell down the middle. But there was one particular night, one of the robbers quite an athletic guy. And at the end of the scene, he had to jump out of the window of the bedroom. Because when he actually came into the scene, there was the usual mattress there for him to jump into. When he left the scene through the window, that mattress had been replaced with a kiddie's paddling pool full of water. And all I heard was, oh, splash. Water everywhere.
And I am known in the group as being, although I'm a dancer, quite accident prone. One of our friends who was also a founder member of the group brought her children the first time ever to watch, and we were doing a hunt scene. I got very energetic and side galloped and kicked my own leg out from underneath myself. The stage crew dragged me off stage, but I still had my hat on, I still had my crop in my hand, and the whole audience went, because I fell over. But I got up and came back on and they all cheered, so that was nice.
Funnily enough, when I was Puss in Boots, they did me up like the cat from Shrek, because Shrek was the big film at the time. So I was this ginger cat from head to toe. It was the hottest costume I've ever worn, and we couldn't wash it because it was fur and it would mat, right? So we were like, what do we do? I had everything underneath. I had T-shirts to soak it up. I was going through about 3 mic packs a night because I was just sweating profusely. So in the end, I thought, what can I do? I thought, I know, I'll put talc in the costume to soak up the sweat. So anyway, I go on stage, I'm crawling around, I'm doing these backflips, and there was a point where I did about 3 consecutive backward rolls, and literally the costume just went poof, and I was literally like a snowball. The audience were just screaming, laughing. So that was pretty funny. The stage was covered in white powder, people were slipping everywhere. It was carnage, but it was great fun.
They allowed me to do a speech one year because I was president, and then I said, "Come on, let me get on the stage." And so they let me put my kit on and come on as Rupert Moon, the rugby player. And then years after that, of course, they allowed me to dress up in stupid costumes and do silly things on stage, which was magnificent.
I got you now, boyo! That's funny. I can't see him.
Well, that's because he's right at the back, Inspector. Isn't he, boys and girls?
What? Right at the back? I got you now, Aladdin!
How long shall we give him, ma'am?
Oh, half hour should do it, Denny.
You think that'll get the wrinkles out of him?
I think so, yes.
Well,
yes.
what are we going to do for half an hour? I tell you what.
What?
Let's go and have a coffee.
Oh, I love coffee, yes.
What do you want? Do you want decaf or do you want the other stuff?
I'll have decaf, please,
What about milk? Whole milk? Full cream?
Full cream milk,
Full
yes.
cream
yes.
for you,
Full
right?
cream, yes.
What about sugar? Click?
Oh,
or do you want
no, proper sugar, yes.
Proper sugar?
Proper sugar, yes.
So, right, we'll give him half an hour.
Yep.
Right.
There we are, right.
Here we go. I heard they were making police cuts, but that's ridiculous.
You know, my 7-year-old finds some of the most bizarre things funny. But it's, and I think that's not funny. Why is he laughing at that? But then it's him and his peers that we've got to target and aim for. So it's not about what we necessarily as adults find funny. Humour's personal to people, but I think whatever it is, our pantors have got it in spades. You know, there's laugh after laugh after laugh. But I will stress that our pantors are not smutty. And that's something that the company's prided themselves on for years.
As soon as the show finishes in January, we start thinking of how we're going to put the show forward next year. We've already decided going forward what we'll be doing until 2024 in lines of what shows we're going to be doing. So basically, it doesn't really stop.
So my job is throughout the year because I work and liaise with the committee to organise all the sound. With our lighting designer and video designer, I organise all the hire of that equipment, the scenery, the props. We've got other people that organise the costumes. It's a lot of work that goes into putting the production together. And when I first started as stage manager, everything that we ordered, so scenery, props, costumes, special effects, used to turn up in 2 Luton vans. Last year for Aladdin, in 2020, we had a 7.5 tonner full of lighting and sound equipment. We had a Luton van full of costumes and props, and a 40-foot articulated lorry for special effects and scenery. So that just gives you an example, I guess, of how the company's grown in the last 7 or 8 years.
We start rehearsing September, October, and when the actual pantomime is running, like it would be now at this time, you're virtually from bed to work, pantomime. And that would be 24/7 for at least 3 weeks of your life.
It was in the summer of 2009. I had my first audition, and it was to play Buttons in Cinderella.
You have no idea who I am, do you? Well, my name is Buttons. And would you all like to be members of my gang? Yeah! Would you? Yeah! All right, then. What you have to do is, every time I come along and shout, "Hiya, kids!" you're all going to shout back, "Hiya, Buttons!" Do you think you can do that? Yeah! All right. I'm going to go off, we're going to have a little rehearsal. And when I come back on and shout, "Hiya, kids!" you're all going to shout back? Hiya! You got it, okay.
I'd come to watch the friendship shows since I was knee-high to a grasshopper with my grandmother for years and years and years. I'd watched the year before's Robinson Crusoe. So I couldn't quite believe it was happening. And I went, and I think there was 2 other boys auditioning, local boys. And I thought, I'm not going to get it, but do you know what? I'll give it a go. I'll have a shot. And I got it. Funny enough, I remember giving the cast cards, good luck cards on our opening night. And I wrote in Denny's, I'll never forget it. And I just wrote, "I cannot believe I'm on stage with Denny Tup." Because it was just surreal being backstage and seeing him without his moustache, and then he was gluing a fake moustache on. And I just stood there like, your moustache isn't real. What?
The summer of 2019, I was in Spain on holiday with the family, and I saw a post on Facebook that said, "We're looking for the genie for Aladdin." I thought, oh, well, that's too good an opportunity to, to let go. I'll inquire straight away. So I'm sat in the boiling hot sun in Spain, and I call this number, and this bloke answers. I'm thinking, oh, I recognise that voice. I'm like, this is Denny Tup on the end of the phone. I'm thinking, I'm talking to Denny Tup now. This is a celebrity for me as far as I'm concerned, and he's on the other end. And I told him, I was quite interested in my previous experience, and invited me for an audition. I got a phone call from Denny saying I got it. So, it was quite a sight seeing a fat 26-year-old man jumping around his house after the call. And I was, incredibly excited to be involved.
Who disturbs my 1,000-year slumber?
Oh, I'm Aladdin. Who are you?
I'm just messing with you. I'm the genie of the magic lamp, master. State your wish that I may grant it.
Oh, well, you see, this lovely lady over here told me to...
Babel. Oh, yes. Oh, beauticious one. Your magic has me completely under your spell. How'd you like to join my lamp for all eternity?
Excuse me, I'd like to get out of this cave.
Legendary. Oh, you've not seen anything yet.
Hello, I'd like to get out of here.
How about a trip around the universe?
No, I don't want to cause any trouble, but...
Maybe you could give me a ring sometime.
Oh, you like to sell that?
Will you two give it a rest?
Funny and serious occasion that happened was during Jack and the Beanstalk. The giant was being played by my son, Christopher, and the outfit that he was wearing was made out of steel poles. It weighed a ton. It was really big. And Brian Hughes was the wizard. And unfortunately, the wizard had to have a pie put into his face. Now, normally we used a special spray for this, but they'd run out of the spray, and somebody went and put shaving cream on it. And when he gave it to Brian, Brian's mouth was open, and the shaving cream came in and started expanding. And Brian was choking.
I ended up hunting for breath with the St. John's ambulance around me, etc.
With that, the giant was fighting with Jack, with swords. And the giant was killed and had to fall back into the wings. And waiting in the wings were about 4 backstage crew ready to catch him because of the weight that he was in, you know.
Your life is near its end of thing. You will die now. Fight is the other thing. I am going to kill you now. Fight is the other thing. I will kill you all. Fight with me.
But because everybody was seeing to Brian, there was nobody for Christopher. So Christopher came crashing down and ended up with concussion.
And I was then being hurried off to hospital because I couldn't get the airways clear.
And somebody went and stood in for the wizard quickly and with a book and finished the panto off. And at the end of the panto now, Lois, my wife, and I, we jumped in the car, and I'm halfway to the hospital, and I realised I didn't have my teeth in. Still had makeup on, but no teeth. So I had to go back to the theatre, and I just caught them here before they were locking up. Back to the theatre, back to the hospital.
There was, I think, one caption in the paper where the wizard, panto accident, wizard is in Ward 5, and the giant's in Ward 6, 7, and 8.
They got the press involved and they came down and took photographs. They recreated somebody being custard pie. Well, Brian, I had to hold the plate as if I'd done it. And then I ended up on page 3 of The Sun, which, great.
We got to the hospital and thankfully they were both okay. And Brian said, there's a bloke in the bed over there in the corner, wants a word with you. So I went up, I said, excuse me, do you want to speak to me? Yes, he said, why? Well, I said, I'm Dennis Jenkins, Denny Top. It's your fault, he said, that I'm in this hospital. I said, why is that? I came to see you last Tuesday, he said. I laughed so much I had a heart attack.
Lads, girls and boys, what does Sooty put on his barbecue? A sweepstake!
There you are, chuckles. Grab hold of this rope, come on.
Okay.
Give me a hand. Catch hold there and pull. That's it. And keep pulling. Come on.
Okay.
Quick.
Hey,
That's it.
this is great. Is it since I pulled? Hey, did you hear about the cockle who went to a disco? Oh, he pulled a muscle.
What the pulling that rope for, chuckles?
Have you ever tried pushing one?
Message from the dark side there is.
What's he got in this basket? It weighs a ton. Oh.
I think the pivotal show for me, where I think the audience started to think, oh, hold on, there could be another character forming here, was when I played Idle Jack, and I had the tagline, I'd come on and hire boys and girls and give that whole spiel, and the children would have to shout back, pull your socks up, Jack. So my socks were always down and I'd be pulling up my socks, and I still, to this day, will get shouted down the street like 6 years later. And I think we followed up Idle Jack with, I was in a double act, and I was given the name Silly Sean. And whilst I haven't played Silly Sean in effect in terms of the name since, again, it's stuck. So I'm now called Silly Sean wherever I go, and children will stop and be like, "You're Silly Sean from the panto," you know, and it's lovely. Yeah, so that character's definitely there. He's definitely silly. I'd like to think he's established now. I'd like to continue establishing him. So we'll see where it goes.
Next year's 2022's pantomime Peter Pan will be the first time Friendship Theatres ever produced Peter Pan. So that's a first for us. But it's also a first for me and for them as a writer. So I've written the script. I've also started writing 2023's panto. And for me, I absolutely adore panto.
For me personally, it's been such an amazing journey. Starting as a babe, going through to be a villager, and then through to senior dancer before becoming part of the stage crew, and then obviously being nominated onto the committee. So I've gone through every aspect of the Friendship Theatre group, really. So from the age of 5 when I first started in the pantomime. So it's a privilege to still be involved after all of these years, and I look forward to many more.
It's extremely strange not to be doing pantomime in January. And yeah, I think everyone is missing it. And it's a challenge. It's a 3-week run. Most of us, we forget our ordinary lives for a month, basically. And it's a hard slog. But, we all thoroughly enjoy it. And yeah, it's very, very strange. It's the first time in 20 years that I haven't done panto in January. And it's a difficult time, but there's more important things going on in the world. And we're looking forward to coming back next year with Peter Pan and going to town with it. And hopefully, there's no better way to start the year than coming to see a panto and having lots of comedy and laughs. And I think that's what we all need in our lives right now.
For as long as I can remember, my grandparents used to take me to the Grand Theatre in Swansea to see the pantos. So my memory of panto goes back to, well, as far as my memory goes back. Yes, it's just a magic world.
Something Denny once said to me when I first started was, and he's absolutely right, it was, panto is a child's first introduction to the theatre, and we need to make it a great one. And that's never left me. And I think the musical theatre world, the performing world, is such a special world. I think everybody should embrace it. I think everybody should love it. And I want those kids to leave this theatre thinking, I love that. I love the music. I love the singing. I love the dancing. And I want more of it. And I want to go back. Yes, it's special.
The Friendship Theatre Group is more than just a theatre group. They were integral to the community. Everybody looks forward to getting rid of the January blues. There was never the January blues because the Friendship Theatre were doing their pantomime. They were pre-selling it before Christmas, and everybody looked forward to post-Christmas. Bizarre as it sounds, January was always about what the community was going to have was smiles and laughter and performances of a weird and wonderful kind every year since I knew in the early 90s, since I think it was 94, but it's just part of Tlethely.
I've loved everyone. I lived and breathed panto for 40 years. Giving it up was a very, very hard decision. If I was physically fit, I'd be waiting to get on that stage and I will do everything I can. I know that even without me, that panto, the Friendship, are going to go on from strength to strength because they have the talent there. And I will do everything to promote them, and anything I can do to help them, I'll be there. Unfortunately, I won't be on the stage with them. And it is a bit of a killer, to be honest, and didn't often I get choked, and I'm going to miss it.
last, and so our story ends.
We're only sad because we have to say goodbye to all our friends. I only wish my father could have been at my wedding so fine.
Oh, I know exactly how you feel. I wish he'd been at mine. We thank you all for joining in. We hope you've had some fun.
We hope you all go home tonight smiling like the sun.
I'm really lost, and now I'm stuck in the lamp for the rest of my days. I wonder if the time will come when I can change my ways.
Our work is done, our dreams have come true.
And let's hope it works out for me and for you.
Now the train's told, we've one more message loud and clear.
And that is thanks for coming, and we'll see you all next year.